come into reality that my life has changed and things are no longer going to be the same. And now that is where now this book comes in, because this book is basically telling people that you don't have to go through what a lot of people are going through, the struggle of the post-divorce. This book is saying you can find your feet slowly but surely, because overall this book, it offers a step-by-step roadmap to healing and reclaiming your joy and rebuilding your life. And not just the rebuilding, but rebuilding with purpose. Because it's very easy and it is inevitable to go through the whole process, the divorce and everything else. But the most important thing is, what do you do after that? Because you need to rebuild and you need to go on.
And Tlalane, that's very interesting because many people, they decide not to take on a separation or a divorce because they ask themselves, what do I do after that? Because now I have a title, I'm a spouse, I'm a partner, I have the title, alternatively, mom, dad, my brother, my sister, my neighbor, things are fine. Without this domestic violence in the house, I'm being abused, I'm being assaulted, I'm being humiliated by the other party. Now, you look at yourself beyond that. I'll be living alone in a flat. I'll be living with my parents, maybe, with other people. That is the difficulty which people have going beyond that. And they stay in the situation. And they stay in the situation maybe because of the kids, because of some other circumstances I do not know. But that is very sad because the law is only there to a certain extent. It can only help you there. But it's not up to you to drag yourself up and take it further.
Yes, that's true. Because most of us are scared of the unknown. Genuinely, nobody wants to stumble along uncertain of what is going to happen. But at the same token, it's all about knowing what to do in life, that you need to do some things. You have to move forward and you have to change your life if you find yourself in a place that you have to change. Because some of the things that you have to go through will depend on you alone. Like you said, you will help with a certain process of the divorce, the law, the legal side, but then there comes a part whereby you have to play a bigger role. And another major thing is, especially if you have children, your healing isn't only on yourself. You are now creating a chain of how people are going to go forward, your own children, how you heal, if you stay or if you fear. But at the end of the day, it's all about venturing for the unknown, but still having hope that I am changing my life for the better, because it's all about healing and moving forward.
No, that's very beautifully said. Now, Tlalane, the plan here is to obviously introduce a book and clients or people that have dealt with these scenarios or intend to deal with it to actually read through the book. To give it a different type of example, I have many friends who become fitter, but they can't take that step of buying the running shoes and stepping out of the door and doing it. And I believe people need tools in life. People need tools in life to live a better life. And this book is a perfect example of that. But before I go into the book, and I have a few questions regarding the book, because I read some chapters of the book, tell me, you yourself, how difficult was it to take that first step? I think I can work from there. How difficult was
it? It was very difficult. It was a moment of learning, because I experienced things that I never even thought I would experience. I went back to living with my parents, which was not easy. And then I had to go back with a child. And then there was no job. So first of all, another major issue is also the financial part of it. So you are now at a place whereby you are not only looking for a job, you don't have finances, because you went through this process that probably affected your finances as a person. For me, it was very difficult. It was so bad. Like I said, it was the most horrific part of my life. Anything can happen, but that was just the worst part. Because the rebuilding, nobody tells you what you are going to experience. Every divorce is different. So whatever story you have somebody it's not going to be the same. Your experiences are different, and it's not something you can tell the next person.
No, thank you very much for that.
Yes.
So I'm going to the book here, and
Yes.
once somebody buys this book, they will know this. But the first part, I like reading, and the first part I highlighted in the book is a part in page 13. It says, "When my marriage ended, I turned to writing."
I
So
think.
on that note, some people turn to something else, gardening, whatever. But how important is it to have something to go back to?
It is very important because you need to find something outside of what you used to do, because now your life is no longer the same. You have this blank time in a way, and also your life is different. So it is important, especially something that you find fulfillment in. So for me, I used to write before I got married. And then when I got married, I wrote, but then I kind of like took a break because motherhood took over, being a wife took over, and then you have to develop a marriage. Therefore, some things take a back step, like you stop doing them. Then after the divorce, and then I had to now find something that brings me joy. That's also one of the things. It was all about something that brings me joy, the writing. And then stepping into that, it was also a matter of writing what I'm going through, because I love journaling and I used to journal a lot. So it started there from writing what I'm going through, and then it just went on from there. And I used to record and journal all the negative things, all the bad things, the feelings, the happy times. And then as I looked back, and then I realized, the writing is actually helping. It's actually healing. Instead of even talking to a friend, I would write. Instead of venting out to somebody, I would write. And that is why over time it became a healing for me. And then it became bigger as well and further. And then kind of like how this book also came to be about, because it was more of what I went through as well through that moment. So it's very important also to channel that energy into something that's going to bring you joy. If you enjoy writing, then do it. Write about how you're feeling. If you enjoy sport, whether it's football, go out there, kick that ball, something that will bring you joy. It might be for a temporary time, but it will be part of your healing journey.
That's very interesting because I have a lot of clients. I mean, over the years, I have many clients. And a client will tell me, I wish I can start something, but I only start once this problem is finalized. So like this one client I had, he enjoyed running. I run a lot, and he said, "Advocate, I wish I can actually start running, but we're busy with a court case." But I asked him the question, why wait till this matter is finalized? It
True,
might be
true.
finalized in 2, 3, 4, 5 years' time. We do
Yes,
not
yes.
know. Why wait until then? Start now is part of the healing
Now,
process because your book doesn't deal with a scenario whereby only once you're done with the divorce,
true,
is
yes,
while the divorce is taking place, before the divorce takes place, you must move on with your life.
yes,
Tlalane, another part of your book which I enjoyed looking at, and I thought about it when I sat and read it. Page 14, you said,
yes.
one day during prayer, I found myself asking God, and I won't deal with the question for now, but very important aspect, prayer is so very important. Can you just elaborate
True,
on that?
true. All right. When I was going through that moment, after my divorce, you find ways of coping and dealing with what you're going through, and prayer for me is one of the most powerful things, because you don't talk to people. That's your personal moment, your spiritual moment, between you and God. So over the years, over the weeks and over the months, as I prayed and as I prayed. And then that's where most of the clarity came from. Because outside of the prayer, I used to talk to a lot of people about what I'm doing to get to the next step. Because maybe I would meet somebody who would say, I'm also going through the same thing, but I'm struggling with this. And then I would tell them how I managed to get out of that whatever they're going through. And then over the time, as I prayed about it, and then that is when it kind of became a revelation through that moment of prayer, that instead of just talking to people, how about if you write this and then put it out there to reach more people? Because sometimes you ask yourself, what can I do if one person or two people or three people come back and say, you know what, I did 1, 2, 3, because you said you did 1, 2, 3. And then when it comes then later that if one person or two people got helped from what I said, then maybe if I put it out there for more people. And then, like I said, as I was praying on this other time, and then it just became a revelation that this is what you need to do. And that is also important to also that spiritual part of it when you're going through. Because especially if you were a very spiritual person before you got married and when you got married, don't stop doing that. Because it will be part of the journey. It was part of your life throughout. And therefore you can't stop with it. So that is how it worked for me.
Tlalane, thank you for that.
Mm.
That's what I'm really into that. So, Tlalane, this is the last part, and I think our next video will be more going more in depth regarding this book. This is only a
Yes.
taste of what is there to offer. But you say this very interesting part also on page 14, and mind you, listeners, that the entire book is about 397 pages, 390 pages. There's a lot of reading, but you can enjoy it.
Mm.
It's a journey. But on page 14, you say the following: this book is my way of saying, you are not alone.
Yes.
It's my way of showing others that while the journey after divorce is one of the hardest paths you'll ever walk, it is survivable. And more than that, it can lead to something better. I love that part. It can lead
Yes.
to
To
something better.
something better.
Explain your
Yes.
definition of something better.
All right. My definition of something better is, like I said, we fear the unknown, and not knowing what is on the other side might be better than where you are now. I mean, nobody wants to get divorced. Life happens. But the thing is, if life happens, you might think that this is the end, you're a failure, or this was supposed to have worked. But then what happens is, as you move on with your life and as you continue your journey, and then you realize that when you look back, that what you are busy with or what you are doing with your life is something that you wouldn't have had, or you wouldn't have even tried or ventured in, should you even have stayed married. So it might be a bad thing, but a positivity come of it. So what I'm trying to say is, you never know what good and what how better your life will be. Because like I said, there are things that you will want to embark on once you get divorced. And once you embark on them, you will realize that this was actually good for me. It would never have happened should I have stayed married. So it is always also keeping a positive mind that going forward, my life will be better. And even making it a point, a deliberate point that I will make my life better. I will start doing things that I fear doing. I will now, once you go through divorce, I promise you there's nothing you have to fear in life. If you've gone through that process, you can even climb the mountain. So even embarking on that, your life can be better and will be better. It's all a matter of saying, I need to start new things as well. I need to continue what I started. I need to look into what I looked into back in the years when I was young. Maybe I can even start and pick up on that again. And you never know where it might lead you in terms of where you want to go. Like in my case now, my writing. Like I said, I used to write, but I didn't write as I wrote after. Therefore, now, and I know, I'm 100% sure that if I had stayed married, I wouldn't have written as I'm writing now, because life would have taken over marriage, motherhood, a lot of things. But after that, I now am in a place whereby I'm looking back, and I'm so glad as well, because that's the better that I'm talking about.
Tlalane, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm.
Over the years, I never met a single client of mine that told me, advocate, the divorce was a bad idea.
Yeah.
And even and and I
True.
say this honestly, Tlalane, that sometimes the parties are not meant to be married to each other. It's just not
Yes,
meant.
true,
It's or to be together
true,
or to be in a, but
true.
sometimes they can be the best co-parents, the best co-parents.
Yes, yes,
So I always advise people, your marriage might have been a flop, but become the best co-parents and do what you want to do with your life. Enjoy
indeed.
life. Visualize a better life for you. Visualize it.
Yes,
See yourself
true.
as I mentioned now. Climbing Mount Everest. Imagine that. Imagine yourself happy. Imagine yourself
Yes,
having fun,
true.
reading, going out. That is what you want to
Yes,
imagine because now you're not seeing that. Now you're just seeing darkness and gloomy. But hopefully the
yes,
separation or the divorce will be the best thing. But I'm not promoting it. Remember, you're coming to me as a lawyer. You're in my
yes,
office. I can't chase you away and say, endure it. But if that is the only option, life gets better beyond that. Tlalane,
yes.
we're running out of time. This was very, very exciting. Extremely exciting. I'm looking forward to the next 9 of these. And I mentioned to you, we're doing about 10 of
Me
this.
too.
And hopefully by
Yes.
the end of this whole process will be by page 390 odd. And we can, and please, as you can see on the screen, you can see the details of the book, the contact details. Tlalane, that is Tlalane at tlalane.manciya.co.za,
That's
and
what I
also the website, tlalane.manciya.co.za.
consider.
That details is on the screen now. And regarding the book, let me just say one more time the name of the book. Let me get to it here. I'm not that tech savvy, but let's just get to the full details here. Here's it: Thriving After Divorce. And this is the best part of this book. We are saying, from I do to I'm doing just fine. Tlalane, that's amazing. Tlalane, any final words before we go and we catch up the next time?
All right. My final words are, you know, the end of a marriage, we must also look at it as any other thing in life that comes to an end. I always say to people, you might get a job. It's not going to last forever. It will come to an end. And how do we treat it? We get up and go out there, put our CVs, and move on and look for another job. I mean, we look, friendships end, but we don't mope and sit there. You go out there and you meet new people, whether you meet them in your hiking club or your book club. So marriage must be treated also the same way, like one of those things that do come to an end in life because life happens. Don't treat it any differently. It ended, it was said, then you need to find a way to move on with your life. So
Tlalane,
those are my words to start off. Like, don't look at it as a one thing that happens in life, like any other thing that happens in life. What do? You don't sit and cry over it for the rest of your life. You get up, like I always say, like a job. You remake your CV, go out there, go for interviews, and look for a job. The
and,
same with this. You can dust off and then you can try to build a life for yourself.
And Tlalane, the beautiful thing is you enjoyed writing. Your marriage didn't work out, which happened to many people. But here we
Mm,
have a book of almost 400 pages. So you went out
mm,
there. You didn't, remain downtrodden and feel sorry for yourself and go through depression and look at
mm,
everybody else being happy and moving on. You moved on with your life. Thank you for that.
yes,
Tlalane, thank you
yes.
for your time. I'll see you next time and have a lovely day.
No, thank you. Thank you, Advocate. And you have a lovely day. Thank you for having me. See you
Welcome. Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay,
Bye bye.
bye.